Hello and welcome to another episode of Delusional Chaos, and in today's podcast we are going to be talking about the romantic detachment and nervous system rewiring. And this is like a massive topic for me, which I'm very into because it's something that I've been going through recently, and I'm just trying to like rewire my nervous system, learn to like self-soothe, and to be a bit more of like a secure attachment style. But if you enjoy this episode, please make sure you give it a like, comment, give it a little share about, maybe subscribe if you want to. But yeah, let me just get into the podcast. I am just gonna like kind of talk about those different topics to do with all of this. But the first one is romanticizing people. I have always kind of been a bit of a romanticizer. Like, I love the idea of being in love. I love the idea of this person being like the one for me. And I think sometimes like I see good qualities and I'm like, this person is perfect. And I kind of, I'm very limerence coded and just kind of put myself out there too soon. And I know that this is because of my attachment style and being a bit delusional. And it's good to be delusional sometimes, and it's good to be chaotic. But I think the whole process of this podcast so far is my emotional journey. Like, I have started off in a pretty rough way, and now I feel like I've grown a lot more and I'm trying a lot harder to rewire my nervous system and just be more like a secure, happier, calmer person. But yeah, I don't know how I got onto that from romanticizing people, but yeah, love romanticizing. It's a bit of an issue, but we're working on it. And romanticizing timelines. So I have always believed that like things will get better with time, and you really like see who a person is in the beginning, but because of the romanticization, like you just believe that this person like has no flaws, or like it's just this really like weird mindset that you kind of end up having. And you do just think that like things will get better with time, but that's not always the case, because things just kind of end up getting worse. I keep having technical issues, so just bear with me. I've only like recorded literally like 2 minutes of this podcast, but we move. What I was trying to say is that things have only just got worse because I've either resented myself for it, or I've resented the person who I'm in the relationship with. And yeah, it's best to just kind of let things be rather than getting to a worse situation. But also, I have definitely forced like a lot of situations in my life due to my attachment style, which I have like now recognised, and it has created a lot more damage, but I do feel like I've learned a lot of lessons from it, which is pretty like amazing. And I've just been able to use all my experiences to not only help myself get through things, but also help my friends, I help other people. And yeah, that's just definitely what I want to do. But romanticizing situations. So in situationships, I felt things quite intensely too quickly, and because I'm such a romanticizer, like I'm a romance girly, I invest way too quickly. I have believed that they're a version of themselves which they actually aren't. And yeah, I paint them to be like a completely different version in my head, and that's just not reality. And I think sometimes I need a little bit of a reality check. The next little like subtopic that I wanted to talk about is having a anxious attachment style. So I feel like I've really had to work on my intuition, and I feel like as women we do have a pretty spot on intuition, and I really had to work on mine. When I first started listening to my gut and my intuition, it was quite tricky to navigate because I wasn't sure which one was which. And I think sometimes it took the lessons and the experiences I was going through to kind of figure out which one was my anxious brain and what was actually intuition and what I knew deep down. And it's still something that I'm working on each day, and I will continue to keep improving on it and working on it. But I felt like for a long time that certain people still cared about me or still loved me because of my inner feeling of intuition. And I think a lot of the time it was kind of my anxious attachment screaming out for help because I wanted to feel chosen and still loved and all of these things, which is quite a hard pill to swallow, is the fact that you aren't the world that they were to you, if that makes any sense. But I think with time and healing and just figuring out that you're the only person that really matters, yeah, it is a lot easier to digest, to be honest. But yeah, that's just what I kind of had to say about the intuition versus anxious attachment. The last topic that I want to speak about is letting go of the need for validation. And my first point is that this topic is quite a lot to unpack because as humans we seek validation. It's kind of natural to us, it makes us feel good, but I feel like letting go of it is more focused towards the validation, which is kind of damaging, not the type of validation which we kind of need as humans. I feel like the people that really matter to you and really have your best interests, like family or the friends that are family, that sort of stuff really does help you get through the day and it helps you get through the week, and those little moments in life are important. But we need people's kindness and our parents' praise and validation to help shape us as people. But however, as life changes and you get older, you realise that the main validation that you need is from yourself. And you can find yourself lost when you're trying to validate other people just for the sake of feeling validated, when you don't really need that negative energy in your life anyway. And it takes a lot of rewiring in your brain when you are a person that really depends on other people treating you nicely or acting a certain way to make yourself feel wanted and needed, and but all the traumas and the things that you have learned have to be worked on, and only with compassion to yourself. You really do have to speak to yourself in the nicest way and just try and remain positive, just try your best, and that is what counts. But letting go of needing validation is uncomfortable, but I definitely think it's necessary for growth. So yeah, that's kind of all I've got to say on that topic. And that is the end of today's episode of Delusional Chaos, and I hope you enjoyed today's little episode. It's something that's really been on my mind at the moment, something that I'm really actively working on. So I just wanted to share my little thoughts and hopefully can give you guys some hope in what you're going through. But I hope you've enjoyed again, and if you did, please give it a like, comment or subscribe. and stay delusional, embrace the chaos, and I will see you again for another episode. Bye.